see right there. So that's what you want to see. Well, earlier today I replaced part of the internals of the backflow preventer on this unit because I waited too long and it froze and it burst. Now I'm going to drain all the water in the sprinkler system. And my unit's a little bit different than some I've seen. The nice thing is I have a valve right here on this side of the backflow diaphragm here. So I can insert air onto this side and run it through my system. I've seen some people that have two plugs here or a drain on the bottom. If I didn't have this, I could run it through this side, or I could connect to the spigot here on the bottom. But I have this, so I'm going to use this valve. Now, the key thing you need is something to go from your air compressor to this, and this is a 1/4 inch male fitting, and this will screw into the bottom right here. Then the other end of your air compressor connects into that. This valve means it's closed. If it's in line, that means it's open. This is open right now, and this would be closed. I'm going to have this open and this closed. And again, my unit is a Wilkins 720-A, but they're all pretty much the same, but they're configured a little bit differently. The water comes out of the house right here on this side and runs to the sprinkler down this pipe. So I'm going to just be adding air to this side, so I don't have to go through the backflow preventer to add air. I can just go through this side and force the air down into the sprinkler system. But before I add air to this line, I'm going to go in the garage and open up one of the zones so that one zone is open. Now, something important to note is you don't want more than 40 PSI regulated coming out of the air compressor. You can see the tank's at 150, but I turn this dial down. You don't want more than 40 running into your sprinkler line, or you could burst it. I'm hoping I don't have any burst sprinklers, even though this burst and this pipe came off. I'm hoping the sprinklers are okay. So all I have to do is go open up a zone, add pressure to this, and slowly open up this little screw valve to let air to the first zone. I'll run that for 2 minutes, then I'll go through each one of the zones and blow them all out, get all the water out of the line till I see just air coming out. So that's what I'm going to do right now, is open up the first zone. Okay, here we are at the control boxes, and I have Hardy Integration rain dial controllers. And there's two things you could do. You could either do manual right here, or you could do set a program. And for manual, what you would do is you would go and set station 1. You would set the time for, let's say, you'd set it to manual down here. You'd go to 1, you'd say 2 minutes, and then you'd hit start. And you could go run it, and you'd have to come back and manually do all that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do set program, and I'm going to go to program C. A is the normal one it runs on. I'm going to go to C and set my own. I'm going to set station 1 for 4 minutes right here, and then all of the rest of these, I'm going to set them for 2 minutes. So that means the first one's going to run for 4 minutes while I run over there and connect the hose, and all the rest of these are going to run for 2 minutes. So you can see they're all 2, except for the first one is 4, and I'll be able to run that, and it will automatically run through all of the cycles. And then I'll do the same thing over here. Do that, go to set program, go 1, and I'm just going to do this one for same thing over here. I'll run these individually. I'll do the first controller box first, and then I'll come over here and do this one. So I'm going to start the first one and run and hook up the air compressor, and it should start draining the water. Okay, now we're ready to do the semi-auto cycle, which means run it not according to schedule. I'm going to run this, turn this to run, and press semi-auto, and it should start. There we go. We can hook up the air. Okay, the air compressor is set at no more than 40. I'm actually going to a little below 40. This is all tightened in, and it's not open. And now I'm going to slowly open this. Now you'll see I took the cap off, and that was because I was hearing air coming through this backflow preventer. And there's a lot of pressure, as you can see right there. It had it locked up. So you don't want any air or water getting out of here. So you got to make sure that that gets a good seal. There, finally. You don't want any air or gas getting out of there. So that's how you want it sealed up. And here's the zone I just turned on. They're spraying out water. And hopefully at some point, they'll run out, just like now. So that's what you want to see. And just let it run, and let all the zones run, till they run all out of water. And I have a 6-gallon air compressor, and it's turning on every couple of minutes for each zone. You can see some like this are just kind of gurgling. Just let them run for the 2 minutes. Get all that water out. Just let them run like that. And you'll notice that these sprinklers don't put out as much water as the larger ones, so they take a little bit longer to drain. And when these are all done, just switch them to off for the winter. And when all the pressure is released, this will drop back down and be where it should be normally. So when you're all done and the pressure's turned off, you'll see that this drops back down to where it should be in the down position. When the pressure was in there, it was up locking the air in. That should be down. And the last thing you can do is take your screwdriver and turn all of these to a 45-degree angle so that they're partially open, partially shut. Water can still get out. You can open up this plastic stopper. Just drain everything out. And same thing with these here. Turn them to a 45 and this one at a 45. Just like that. And I'll take this off, and then I'll take this valve off and put the cap back on, and it's all ready for the winter. Open up this, make sure, yep. Letting all the last little water out of the system. That's just draining any water that's in here and in this pipe, and also the pipe coming from the house. There. And you can leave this open too. The goal is just to leave it open so that nothing freezes up and breaks in there. So you just leave it partially open. So that was it. It took a couple hours, run through each zone, make sure this backflow preventer is up to seal it. And the key is to get the right fitting, that 1/4-inch male fitting to fit in the downward side of this. If not, you got to either run it through the spigot or run it through over here. But hope that helps. Thanks.
Well, I hope you liked the video you just watched. If you did, feel free to subscribe by clicking the button on this side. You can also check out all the videos I've done, the playlist from things I've built, things I've fixed, home repair, 3D printing, And on this side, you can check out a recommended video similar to the one you just watched. And as always, down in the description, I'll put a link to my blog, which has more pictures and more information about the video you just watched. Thanks.